That is really hilarious.
Yeah, it's very spooky.
I had a guy who wanted to get DMT from me in Cleveland. I knew he was a cop. Because first of all, who the fuck is asking me for DMT?
Cleveland.
You know, and I'm in Cleveland, and this guy has a crew cut. He's looking at me, and I'm like, this guy isn't drunk. He's not high, and I'm assessing the dude. I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, this guy seems like he's had some self-defense training.
Right.
It seems like he's a confident man. It seems like he's acting like he's got some weird feeling of authority about him. I was like, he's almost like he expects authority. He expects you to this guy was like such an obvious cop.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous because a bad cop, or at least a dumb cop, they get a feeling of entitlement around people. A dumb one. I've seen it a bunch of times. And I'm a big supporter of cops. And I always say that 99% of cops are just trying to do a good job. It's the 1% of cunts that fuck it up for everybody else. They run a pretty fucking tight ship in most police forces.
Sure.
But this guy just eked of cop. I was like, what are you talking about, man? And he goes, come on, man, DMT. He's like looking at me, and I'm looking at him. We're making eye contact. I'm like, motherfucker, the last thing you want is DMT. You're not looking for DMT, you fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
And I was
like you carried her, like you
we had
carried her around.
the weirdest stare off, man. It was so strange.
That's so weird.
It was so strange because he was totally full of shit. There was no way this guy was looking at Trip. He wasn't looking at Trip. He was looking to fucking arrest me.
You know that that marijuana thing that John Heffron gave you?
Yeah.
Ever since that show, every day this guy writes me and he adds an extra $100. He goes, $100 donation if you send me one of those marijuana sticks. $200 donation. He's done it every day. I think I'm up to $500.
You think that's
You should tell him to suck your cock on video.
You should tell him to do an internet search.
Well, I traced it.
Tell him about Google.
Yeah. Well, you can't get that shit on Google.
You can't get a vaporizer. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are California only.
I'm really bored there.
Oh, I see. I didn't know
Or
that.
probably Colorado's rocking.
Did you hear they're thinking about closing the post office?
Yeah, man, I'm tired of getting mail. This is
me
a good
too.
move.
Me too. I
How
never
about-
get good.
How about we make it so that just like our ancestors, we get to the point where nothing we have is traceable once the Big Bang happens and a fucking rock hits the planet and all our hardware corrodes. We have nothing solid written anywhere.
How about no post office and only quarters?
What do you mean only quarters?
Dollar bills and stuff like that, paper money, but only quarters.
No pennies, nickels, and dimes?
Yeah, everything rounds to a quarter.
They stopped doing
No, I mean, wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that be a good idea?
Oh, Jesus, dude. Everything in quarters?
Yeah, I mean, how
That
many
seems
times
annoying.
do you fucking
That seems like it'd be a
dimes
nice
and
excuse for them to
pennies
raise
everywhere?
taxes so that everything rounds off to a quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what, it rounds off to the next quarter.
It always raises high, and all that goes to the government.
That's not a good move. What are you doing? You want
Why?
to give those fuckheads more money? Have you been watching these Republican debates?
Yeah.
Did you see the one where they were talking about the guy dying because he didn't have any money?
Yeah.
He didn't have any insurance?
Yeah.
Should he die? And the audience was cheering?
Yeah, let him die.
Tell me about that. What is that?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. The Tea Party's hilarious because the moment you climb out of the pussy, it's open game. But when you're in there, no one can touch you. They're all anti-abortion, but the moment you're born, they're like, let him die. And you could have a baby that pops out and doesn't have insurance inside the fetus if the woman wanted to get inside the womb, if the woman wanted an abortion. The Tea Party be like, no, it's evil. The moment that baby comes out, if it doesn't have insurance, Tea Party's like, let it die, let it die. Its mama didn't have insurance, let it die.
I don't think they feel that way about babies. I think
they feel like that way about people.
Grown-ups only.
But
once you're a grown-up, you're on your own.
Grown-ups are just mutated babies.
Well, they're babies that grew up. Yeah, but I don't think they're anti-baby. I think they're just, when you get to a certain point, you're supposed to take personal responsibility. I think the way they're going about it is pretty silly. I mean, the idea should be that you should have a sense of community that is earned, where everyone contributes, so everyone wants to help everyone.
Sure.
Our real problem is that there's too many fucking people, and that you cannot have communities of 20 million people, because you're going to get a diffusion of responsibility. You're going to get a situation where there's too many fucking people, and they're not going to care about one life here or one life there or one person here or one person there. They don't have to. But if you lived in a village of 50 people, everyone would have to care about everyone. And that's how we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live like in the movie Little Red Riding Hood, where there's a girl with the bug eyes that's really hot. What's that chick? She's blonde. Fuck her. Who cares? I don't care what. She's very hot. She's in a lot of movies. And she was in Little Red Riding Hood. And they played this little village where there was a werewolf that came and was fucking everybody up. I have to see all werewolf movies, of course, even Little Red Riding Hood. But she lives in this little village, and as I was watching all these people sort of prepare their town and stockpile everything and prepare for this werewolf, I was like, this is how people really are supposed to live. They're supposed to live in small communities that are worried about outsiders. That's how they're supposed to live. It's supposed to be everybody that you know in this little area is your friend. You're all cool. You're cool together. You work together. You eat together. You hunt together. You cook together. Everyone is in this little group.
But people aren't
that you
supposed
don't
to
know that come over the hill, those are the ones you have to worry about.
I don't think people are supposed to live in any particular way. I think that there's that's what adaptation's all about.
Sure.
So I think that now the real problem isn't that people are sucking the system dry. The real problem is really quite clear. It just seems like it's right in front of everyone.
Diabetes.
It's that 2% of the people on the planet have all the wealth. And that's the problem.
That is part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is that the biological evolution, the evolution of the animal, the human animal itself, to adapt to this system of this community being intensely, like incredibly larger than it used to be.
Yeah.
That our DNA and the way we think and behave is based on communities. And when all of a sudden the community is some abstract number that you can't even wrap your head around, a community of 300 million people, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the only reason why we can accept states. And if we just had one giant state, it would be so completely ridiculous. It would seem so strange.
You mean like the New World Order, or like a global?
No, I mean the idea of a giant community of a bunch of people you don't even fucking know in a number that's so large you can't wrap your head around. We don't know what 300 million means.
If you change
300 million is just some numbers on a piece of paper. No one's brain registers what 300 million people is, but that's the community that we're involved in. Somehow or another, the world has grown to the point where 300 million people plus the whole rest of the world is constantly communicating at the exact same time, which is something the biological body of today is absolutely not ready for. So all of our checks and balances and natural reward systems are completely fucking hijacked.
Yeah.
Just like they're hijacked with movies that fucking trick us.
Right.
Just like they're hijacked with placebos. Just like the whole system is hijacked. And we have not caught up to how much life has changed.
It's not